from watching the basketball game?
Until the last couple minutes of the half, I thought this was by far our best performance. I think we've had some good moments and some not so good moments. All par for the course, I guess, in the summer league.
Has anyone surprised you so far?
No, not really. I mean, I think that you're looking for growth, but a lot of times in these games, guys do things or are asked to do things they may not do in an NBA game or be looked at to do. So you take some of the things with a grain of salt, but you're looking for strides and improvement in the right areas.
Jimmy is one of the guys trying to expand his game out here. He said that. What do you want to see from him that maybe he didn't do last year?
Well, we talked to Shemi about just being even more versatile defensively. His ability defensively to keep the ball in front of him is excellent. It's the highest level. And now it's being able to get into people's airspace and do that. And then on the other end of the floor, it's just continuing to be most comfortable playing off of people and knowing when to attack. We were talking yesterday after they shot around that sometimes that's a little bit more difficult when you're not playing with some of the guys that take all the attention that our guys do, on the Celtics team in the winter. So I think he's doing a good job. I'm a big Chevy guy.
You guys moved quickly to re-sign Aaron Baines. Why was that so important for you guys to handle quickly? And what was your reaction when you guys did?
I've said this before. His grit, his toughness, his physicality. You need those things, and those things are contagious. We've talked about that with him since he got here. And, I always laugh. I tell the story of we do warm-ups that everybody does, dynamic stretching, where you're running up and down the court. And there's not a player in the world that likes it, right? It's just part of getting ready for practice. And Baines makes every day a race. Baines makes every day fun, and people look forward to it because of him. And I think that kind of thing, that is an important thing as you move through an 8-month season.
Do you still hope to see Williams in this, or are you making some kind of a call in basketball?
I mean, it's every day I get an update on where he's at. So every morning they say, can he play or can't play? So far it's been can't play. So I don't want him to play if he's hurting at all. But we'll reassess it whenever our next game is.
Kyrie had his camp with Jason. This video of him dribbling and moving pretty Kyrie-like, which we haven't seen.
I've not seen it. I saw Uncle Drew. That was sweet. He was moving good in that.
Where do you have a sense on where he's at?
I don't have any idea, Adam, other than what I said earlier, maybe a couple weeks ago, that I think the whole time he's been shooting for an early August return to real live action. So he's, should be well ahead of the time we start practice. So both him and Gordon are about at the same timeline. But I don't have a daily update. But that's encouraging. That's good.
What do you want to see from him? Robert's passing mistakes he's made. Have you been able to
Robert
Williams? Have you kind of picked up that he's learned, or are you talking to him? What can you do to help him?
Well, I think, obviously it's been well documented. The first practice wasn't so hot. But everything since then has been great. So we're encouraged by him, and he's working, even though he's not playing, he's cleared to do stationary shooting and ball handling, and they've been spending 30 minutes every day working on the form of his shot, building that up and building some depth to it, helping with his free throw accuracy, which is going to be really important. And then working his handle, because we'll ask him to handle the ball a lot, whether he's shooting from deep or not. So I'm really encouraged by his work, his attitude, picks things up very quickly. I've been really encouraged.
You said that literally Baines was defending him and literally moving him feet with his hands. Is that a good
I didn't see that. I actually heard that. I know this, when Baines hits you, you can feel Baines. Yeah. Maybe that's the other reason we're so excited he's back.
For Gershon this summer, what are the biggest areas of focus for him, just in terms of beyond just getting the additional reps?
I think Gershon, I've always said that Gershon's greatest strength is his ability to see the game and make plays for others, and continuing to put himself in position where he can do that and seeking opportunities to do that, whether it's on a roll, driving a big off of a closeout, being great with his footwork so that he can get by the big on the closeout, are all things that we're focused on with him. And then, you know, he's playing the 5 a lot in this, but the reality is that that's probably where he'll play some. But he's got to be able to play the 4 and the 5 and guard both of those to continue to develop the right way.
Have you noticed that Jay is different when he jumps from an assistant role, which he's obviously normally in, and goes into a head coaching role?
Not at all. No, and I think that's something that is pretty consistent among our group. We've got all of our assistants do a really good job. They're really thoughtful. They put in a lot of work, but they don't change their personalities. They are who they are, and they're really good at what they do, and I appreciate them for that.
What are your contributions there? Like in a summer league practice, how do you kind of be standoffish but also make the contributions?
I very rarely will say anything. All individual. Most of my conversations are just individual with the players. Maybe if I see something, I'll ask Jay if I can have 5 minutes at the end of practice to walk through something. That would be more of a 10,000-foot suggestion rather than a specific play or defensive rotation suggestion right now. It's more about them all getting together, figuring out how they want to do things on both ends of the floor, and I try to stay out of it.
It was relayed to a few of us that Marcus Smart was a little hurt by people from this organization not reaching out to him, even just to like check in, see how he's doing, see how his family's doing. Have you had any chance to speak to him at all during this? Or
text him, having Marcus is, I think, pretty well aware of how I feel, and I saw him a couple days before free agency. He was in town for his camp. Saw him over at our new practice facility. I've talked to him a bunch. I'm not involved in all the negotiation part of it and all the numbers part of it. He knows that, and he also knows that we really want him back. So, I know that our front office has worked hard to be communicative, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.